It's Thursday, December 31st, 2020. Before I start this evening's show, I want to wish everybody out there a happy new year. As we enter 2021, we are going to be entering a very challenging time in American history. And many people believe that as we enter the new year, as we enter 2021, that things are going to get better, that some miracle will take place, somebody will flip the switch, and everything is going to go back to some sort of normal. I really pray and hope that that's the case, but I'm a realist. I live in the real world. I'm reading the news, I'm looking at the numbers, I'm connecting the dots, and I don't see how that's going to happen. What I see in 2021, I see a lot of pain. I see a lot of suffering. I see a financial collapse. I see more pressure on the US dollar. I see more inflation, and I see more jobless and homeless Americans. And look, it gives me no satisfaction to report the real news, to tell you what's really happening in America and what's about to happen. Look, there is no satisfaction. I wish I was reporting a lot of good news. But you know, a lot of people say that it's doom and gloom. I'm being negative. If I wanted to, have fun and not be doom and gloom and just, have a good time, I would just have a car channel. I would just start a car channel, maybe a food channel, have fun, show you what I'm eating, show you what I'm driving, go to a car show, and that would be fun. That would be fun. And there will be time for that somewhere down the road. But right now, the most important thing is this country. The most important thing is the future of America. The most important thing is to make sure that you're awake and preparing yourself and your family for this financial collapse. Could I be having a better time talking about something else? Yes, but there is nothing more important right now, at least to me, than the future of this country, than the safety of everyone watching this video, and to make sure that every one of you is prepared mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually for what is coming. Let's get into what happened this morning. We got the weekly jobless claims. Came in at 787,000. So we had 780,000 people file jobless claims last week. Yet people are telling us about the V-shaped recovery. People are telling us that everything's going to turn around and be fixed in 2021. How can that possibly be when we are losing this many jobs? And remember, how many people were actually working part-time for FedEx and UPS, working warehouse jobs, working at department stores, these temporary part-time jobs during the holidays? This number may be much worse next week. I thought yesterday when I made the video, I said I believe the number will be over 750,000. It was nearly 800,000. Next week, look to that number to probably break past 800,000 again. We are really seeing a bad situation get worse when we are losing this many jobs. And earlier today, after I got this news, I was running some errands and I went by a coffee house. I wanted to try it out. It opened up about a week ago, and I've never had their coffee, Dutch Brothers Coffee, and it's brand new in town. And I wanted to go try it out, so we went over to check it out. Now, I kid you not, we could not even pull into the parking lot because there were so many cars. I lost count after 60 cars. That's what I counted in the drive-through to this little coffee house. I lost count at 60. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, there's over 60 cars waiting to get a cup of coffee. And I'm just thinking, like, what are these people thinking? To wait in a line of 60 cars. And as I read this article on The Hedge today, 20 numbers from 2020 that are almost too crazy to believe. This article was written by Michael Snyder. I like Michael Snyder. I'm not going to go over all 20, but I wrote down a few. But as I'm thinking about the 60, 70 cars I saw in the coffee drive-thru today, I'm just thinking about this article. Since the crisis, there have been more than 70 million new claims for unemployment. And I'm thinking, how many of these people have a job? How many of these people know about what is happening right now here in America. How many of these people know what is coming, but they have the time to spend hours in a coffee line? But going back to the 70 million plus claims, this means we have been averaging well over 1 million new claims per week, new unemployment claims per week, over 1 million since the beginning of this crisis. The old all-time record for a single week was 695,000 back in 1982. We have been breaking that record every week for about 10 months now. Murders are up 36.7% in our big cities. 12 million renters are now at least $5,850 behind in rent and utilities. Landlords all across America are in financial distress because of unpaid rent, with an eviction tsunami on the way. 1 in 4 children in America are going hungry. 55% of Americans are living in a financial disaster, while the government spent $6.9 million to develop a smart toilet. Yet there's 60, 70 cars in line to get a cup of coffee today. 73% of Americans are either overweight or obese. The average American will spend 44 years looking at digital devices during his or her lifetime. And when I read this article, when I look at 60, 70 people in line to get a cup of coffee, it makes me come to the determination that millions of Americans are going to lose everything. This is why, because most of these people that have the time to wait 2 hours for a cup of coffee have no idea what I'm talking about. Most people watching this video would never wait 2 hours for a cup of coffee. These are the people, these are the masses, these are the sheeple, these are the people that are going to lose. And look, there may be exceptions in that line, okay? But you know what I'm saying. How many of these people know about their pension? How many of these people know what I'm talking about? How many know what an ounce of gold is, what an ounce of silver is, what a barrel of oil was today? How many of these people know about the eviction crisis? Many of these people are probably part of the eviction crisis that's coming. How many of these people have a job or dependent now on a government check, but they have the time to wait in line for a cup of coffee? How many of these people are overweight and obese, just continuing to put more sugar and more garbage in their body? And I'm not against a cup of coffee, guys. I couldn't make it to Dutch Brothers, but I did get a $2 cup of coffee at McDonald's. I'm not going to wait in a line for 60 or 70 cars for a cup of coffee. You know, these are the people, to me, the way I look at it, these are the type of people who are ignoring the cobra that's on the floor. And sooner or later, these are the people that are going to get bit by the cobra. And these are going to be the people that lose. And again, I'm not judging anybody. There's nothing wrong getting a cup of coffee. There's nothing wrong waiting in a line. But I just look at the herd. I look at the masses. You know, it's like when a Krispy Kreme opens and there's a 2-hour line to get a donut. And there's people that will stand in that line 2 hours to get a donut. It's unbelievable, the mentality of the typical zombie in America. And this is why so many people are going to lose everything. The Hedge today: restaurants prepare for a dramatic loss of revenue as New Year's Eve celebrations are canceled. The celebrations are canceled, the restaurants are closed, and they are going to continue to get beat up. And when I was in Orange County yesterday, if you watched my video yesterday, so many restaurants closed down, decimated. And as I'm back here in the desert, a friend of mine had contacted me today and had told me that Fleming Steakhouse in Rancho Mirage, been there a few times over the years. It probably opened up in the early 2000s over at the River outdoor shopping area, which I've done a couple videos at. It's been absolutely decimated. Now, one of the big restaurants there, Fleming's. There's Fleming's, there's P.F. Chang's, there's the Cheesecake Factory. Fleming's is the first big restaurant there to bite the bullet. And this is an anchor restaurant over there. It's been there for nearly 20 years, and it's a high-end steakhouse. They are now permanently close. And that restaurant may employ 100 people. I don't know. I'm estimating that a big high-end steakhouse probably employs nearly 100 people. Maybe it's 70 people. I don't know for certain. But what I do know is there are a lot of people now that no longer have a job because their place of business, Fleming Steakhouse, Rancho Mirage, California, is now permanently closed. So how much time does PF Chang's have? How much time does the Cheesecake Factory have before they're next? As the entire outdoor mall there has been completely decimated. Probably about 70% of the retail stores there are now closed, and now the big high-end steakhouse there, it has now closed after about 20 years. Sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. This is just another warning to what is coming. People will tell me, this negativity, the message is the same. Look, the message is the message. I'm just reporting the news. Fleming Steakhouse now closed. I'm reporting to you the restaurants that I saw in Orange County yesterday closed. Some permanently, some not permanently. But people are not working. And some of these shopping areas are absolutely decimated. And I'm reporting to you what I'm seeing on a daily basis. I'm seeing more homeless people in my area. I'm seeing more homeless in Orange County. Talked to a good friend of mine today in the Newport Beach area. He is very worried. He has got money. He's wealthy. He knows he needs to get out of California. I know I need to get out of California. But, I'm talking to this gentleman who is a much older gentleman, wealthy. He cannot believe what he is seeing take place in this economy. When you're talking to somebody in their 70s who's made a lot of money over their lifetime, and they're telling you they've never seen anything like this. They're worried. They're about ready to pull the plug and get out of California. Again, it's just telling me I need to get out of here. And that day is coming. There's no doubt about it. But, talking to this gentleman today and just listening to what he's saying and the concern in his voice, a guy that's lived, on the coast for decades and just cannot believe what he is seeing. And we are seeing things happen, whether it's, in the middle class, whether it's the outlet malls, whether it's high-end retail. We're seeing it all across the board. I'll tell you who's busy: the dollar stores, Walmart. That's who's busy. And as they continue to smash the middle class, we're going to see more and more people forced to shop at Walmart, more and more people forced to shop at the dollar store. People's standard of living is changing right before their very eyes. They don't even know it. The dollar's right now sitting at 89.93. The dollar under pressure. Gold's up a little bit this evening. The dollar's going to get smashed, ladies and gentlemen. We could see at some point a dollar collapse, and we may see the dollar really get beat up in 2021. And that to me means we cannot solely be just saving dollars. If you're just saving dollars, you're going to lose. You need to be in other things. You need to be getting out of the system. You need to be in gold. You need to be in silver. You may need to be in cryptos. That's up to you. I just cannot buy into cryptos, at least not yet. But for those that are, I don't blame you. I'm not opposed to them. I'm certainly not going to judge anybody in cryptos. Look, the more you're out of the system, I think the better off you're going to be. But one thing we know for certain is the U.S. dollar is going to continue to get beat up. And I believe that we are going to see a dollar collapse at some point in our lifetime. And it may not be that far down the road. It could. I think we're going to see the dollar really, really get beaten in 2021. But the bubbles continue, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to watch a stock market bubble unlike any we've seen. We're going to watch a real estate bubble unlike any we've seen. A bond bubble unlike any we've seen. We're going to watch these bubbles get bigger and bigger until they pop. And when they do, there's no doubt all hell will break loose in these markets. And we don't know politically what kind of fallout we're going to see here in the next couple weeks and what kind of effect that could have on the markets. Right now, look, I think you have to be living day to day. And you really, really got to be careful. I cannot stress enough my concern with these bank closures. It took me 4 banks. I had to go to 4 banks yesterday to eventually get some money out of an ATM. The fourth bank, Wells Fargo, was closed, but the ATM was active. I drove by some more banks today. They're closed. I don't know if their ATMs worked, but they're closed. And this is really getting strange, isn't it? I mean, nobody is in these buildings. Maybe the ATM is working at your bank, but there's no human being in the bank. And we're seeing more of this. We're going to see more of these branches closing down, more consolidation. And it really worries me because how easy it is for a bank just to shut the door, shut off the ATM, and now you cannot get to your money. And what if we get to a point, if there's some sort of collapse that they're only going to allow you to take $50 a day, $100 a day of your own money? And I think we should all be a little concerned. I think we should all be a little bit of aware, at least, that the banking system isn't what it once was. It isn't what it was a year ago. I've never saw banks closed ever. And now I'm seeing multiple banks closed, different branches closed. And to me, something is going on. And you could say it's the infection. That's nice. But why are the ATMs closed? Before it was like, well, we're going to only allow 20% capacity in the bank. That was okay. But now nobody's allowed in the bank. Now there's no human being in the bank. Now the ATMs are all closed. Yeah, something very, very strange is going on. And to me, that draws concern. So be your own central bank. Don't leave all your money in the bank. Leave what you need in there to pay your bills. That's it. Put your money somewhere else. Maybe put it in multiple locations if you can. But leaving all your money, leaving that safety deposit box in the bank with your diamonds and your gold, and your heirlooms, big mistake. The biggest criminals in the world are the banks. And don't forget, they're borrowing money for zero and charging you 21% on that credit card. They are crooks. And if you're going to trust the banks with your money, because once you give them that money, it's no longer your money, it's their money. And same thing when you put all those assets in that safety deposit box, that is now their property. So be very aware of that and be very cautious with what you're putting in the bank. I think I'm going to leave it there this evening. Have a wonderful, wonderful new year. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of dangers out there, but we're all blessed. We're breathing today. You're watching this video, so you're alive, you're awake, you're aware of what's going on, so you're blessed. So prepare for what's coming. If you thought 2020 was a rough year, I believe that what's coming is going to dwarf what we saw in 2020. We are going to see the blowback, the ramifications of this economy that we had in 2020, we're going to now see the ramifications in 2021. We're going to see the ramifications of shutting down an economy. We're going to see the ramifications of over 100,000 businesses closed. We're going to see the ramifications of 4 million people in forbearance, 12 million people not paying rent. We're going to see the results and the causes that this has created in 2021. So these people out there that believe that things will get better because they hope it will, because they believe it will, not going to happen. I live in the real world. You cannot have millions in forbearance. You cannot have 40 million people unemployed. You cannot have 12 million people nearly $6,000 behind in rent. And you cannot have a country that is $27.5 trillion in debt. That's called bankruptcy. We have a country now in bankruptcy. There is no magic switch, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to get better. And that's why you better be protecting yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. God bless you all. Walk close to God. Talk to all of you very soon. Have a great new year.